Good evening, folks. Welcome back to RRTV. We're here to cover the Skip Barber Monday Lights Racing Series, coming live to you from Circuit Zolder, and we're on the Grand Prix configuration. Before we get into the broadcast tonight, I'd just like to apologise for last week. I managed to do a whole broadcast while muted, so for those of you that watched that, you'd probably notice there's no commentary, which may have been a good thing. But anyway, I'd like to welcome back into the commentary box Richard Craig. I hope you're welcome back, I should say, and I hope you're all recharged from your long holiday.
Yeah, thanks, Bernie. I am, and it was hot where I was, and I've just been checking out the weather for Zolder, and it's cold here, so it's like summer into winter. So the boys tonight, they've got a 15-degree Celsius ambient temperature and a track temperature of 21 degrees with a 14-kilometre-an-hour southwest wind, which will provide a bit of a tailwind actually around the back part of the circuit as they head up to the second chicane. So it should be fun, Bernie.
Yeah, it certainly should be, and we've got quite a good showing here tonight, folks. We've got a total of 3 splits. We're, of course, covering the top split. So we've got 3 splits of 16 drivers each, and as I said, we'll be bringing you the top split. But having a look at the guys out there at the moment, we've got Ewan Noralampi. Well, he's just got pipped off provisional pole by Scott Fountain. So I think that's a new name to the series, isn't it, Richard?
Yeah, Scott's put in a couple of rounds. Certainly last season Scott was around a bit. Scott's a Kiwi. He does actually race. He's a real driver. Very, very sharp pilot. I haven't seen him put many laps in around Zolder, but he'll give you something to think about, that's for sure. And I see Josh Anderson has just moved to the top with a 1:44.320, so just a tenth of a second separating the front 3 guys at the moment. So looking for some close racing, Benny.
Certainly are, and we saw last week Josh Anderson had a fantastic race, and he really took it to Ewan Noralampi last week at Oran Park. So it's great to see Josh out there as well. We do have Ewan Noralampi sitting in 3rd at the moment, followed by Simon Schultz in 4th position, and then rounding out our top 5 is Keith Sharp at the moment.
Yeah, Keith's out of the UK. I've seen Simon around. I'm not sure exactly where he comes from. I think he's out of Europe. But, you know, they're very keen Skippy drivers.
Yeah, it's great to see. So we'll have a look at our point score, folks. And as the point score goes, the drivers in the top 2 splits, they can accrue points. So if we have a look at the point score, we've got Ewan Noralampi in the lead on 137 points, followed by Alex McKellar on 110 points. And Alex is normally in the second split, but tonight he's in the top split again, so that's great to see. And he's currently 15th in the qualifying. 3rd is Callum Dwyer on 86, equal with Darren Lesu on 86, and then 5th is Craig Deschen on 70 points. There may be a little bit of a mix-up there with Luke Page's score, because I can see he's down for 107 points, but sitting in 6th position.
Yeah, so it's been a pretty tight championship, well contested this time around. Our second series. So some of the guys, Benny and I were just talking about it, some of the guys who have been safely in the second split have found themselves in the first split. So that's sort of shaken the scoring up a bit, which is good. They don't have it too easy in the second split. I think we like that.
Yeah, it's great, and we can see here Alex McKellar at the moment, number 15. He's sitting in 15th, so I guess he's sitting where he's seated in the top split, but it's great to see him up there. Nick Burbridge is also in the top split this week, currently sitting in 16th position.
Yeah, now Zolder's a great little circuit in Belgium, really built in the early 60s. I think about 1963 they had their first races. They used to race Formula 2s and Formula 1s back in the old days, so some of the really big names that we'd all know, like Jack Brabham, Jochen Rindt, have won races here, and then it did some time as an alternate circuit when Spa-Francorchamps was being rebuilt. So the more modern era Formula One cars were in there for a while, and also the Formula 5000 cars. So Peter Gesson, Mike Hailwood, these guys have all been around here. So back in the day, it was a well-used circuit, but these days it's more known for the Blancpain series. And I've watched a couple of those around here from last time around, some of the quali and other sessions, and brilliant. Produces very close racing, very, very difficult circuit to overtake on.
Yeah, and it's especially a very difficult circuit to master with all these really tight chicanes, and those ripple strips on those chicanes are absolutely brutal. So we may see a few of the guys come unstuck if they hit those ripple strips tonight.
Yeah, and now the boys have got the hammer down now. Yuha's just done a 1:43.757, and Josh Anderson not far off on a 1:43.760. So just 3,000 separating those two guys.
Yeah, and it looks like they're both sitting in the pits at the moment. They've done 4 laps, so we're just watching Simon Schultz now come around to complete his lap. And he's got a 1:44.546, so he's got a bit of work there, and it looks like he's called it quits, and he's into the pits.
Yeah, he hasn't improved on his time, so he had a 1:44.059. Scott Fountain in 4th on a 44.084, and then in 5th, dropping back about 4/10, you've got Kevin Henderson on a 44.465, and Darryl Ridley very close behind him on a 44.479. Then we've got Keith Sharp, 44.7, Luke Page, 44.8, and Luke Wooten rounding out the top 10 with a 44.938.
Yeah, so while the guys are gridding up, let's go through our full grid. So as Richard just said, we've got Ewan Orolampi on pole position, followed by Josh Anderson in 2nd. Keep an eye on Josh tonight. Schultz is sitting in 3rd, followed by Scott Fountain in 4th. 5th is Renson. 6th is Kevin Henderson, followed by Darryl Ridley in 7th. 8th is Sharp. Page is 9th, 10th is Witten. 11th, Mick Gray in 11th, 12th Conroy, Fernandez 13th, Huggins 14th, 15th is Nick Burbridge, and he managed to pass Alex McKellar there on the last qualifying lap. Just reset our overlays. I tell you what, the guys are sounding racy. I can hear someone revving their car on the grid there.
Yeah, I think they're pretty keen to get into it. I think the guys up the front know that they're going to for a real race here. And I think Joshua will be quite pleased to race Yuha to the line as opposed to last week where Yuha dropped out of contention.
Yeah, that's right. It looked like you did have some setup issues last week, so hopefully he's got that car dialed in a bit better, because he was definitely struggling there last week. We're just waiting for the final guys to grid up, and then we'll be into this race. So we know Ewan and Josh are both very fast. What about any of the other drivers? Is there anyone else our viewers should be keeping an eye on tonight, Richard?
Yeah, Simon Schultz and Scott Fountain are both quick drivers of this car. And I think you'll find Keith Sharp maybe a little bit out of position as well.
Green flag.
Okay, we're under green flag now. We are underway. It looks like a nice clean start there. Ewan Orolampi has taken the lead. Josh Anderson on the outside, followed by Sharp in 3rd position. So just see if they all get through that first corner. It's looking pretty clean out there.
Yeah, the boys want to be reasonably careful in this opening lap. Of course, when we come down to this first chicane, the field's going to concertina up a bit. That's our first pinch point, really.
Yeah, that's right. It looks like we've got Simon Schultz in 3rd position being challenged pretty heavily now by Scott Fountain as we come down into the chicane the first time. Too wide between Schultz and Fountain there.
Oh, and they both get through, but Scott Fountain's run wide, lost a bit of time there.
Yeah, that's cost him a few positions there as they just tangled wheels on the exit of that chicane. That's definitely worked into Fountain's advantage there. But look at Josh Anderson up front as he starts pressuring Ewan Norolampi.
Actually, I think we've got a mistaken identity there. I think that it's Scott in the number 4 car. So he's currently in 3rd position. So we'll need to double check who it was that fluffed that.
Yeah, I think that was Keith Sharp who lost that. He's now sitting in 5th position as we're riding on board here now with Josh Anderson having a look on the outside. Oh, there's a bit of contact there, and Josh looks like he might have had a bit of netcode issue there.
Yeah, and Josh has lost his front wing out of that as well, and he will suffer with that. And you are giving him an "oh, watch it, be careful." Not too happy about it.
And we've got a replay here. Mick Gray has come together with another driver here onto that chicane, ripped his front nose off. There was 3 involved in that incident, and unfortunately he's had to get that car towed back to the pits.
No, that's unfortunate. So this is an interesting circuit. You know, as I was saying before, it's hard to overtake. One of the things about it is if you're going to overtake, you need to be decisive, but you need to make it stick. And I've noticed people lose a lot of time if you get into a half-hearted move, especially going into these chicanes, and can't pull it off, and you can lose a lot of time. So you really need to manage what you're doing in a different kind of way on this circuit.
Yeah, that's right. It's a stop-start circuit, but it's very much a momentum circuit as well, isn't it? But at the moment, after that contact, Ewan Norolampi's leading the way, followed by Scott Fountain in 2nd. Keith Sharp's worked his way back up to 3rd. Terry Renson, or Thierry Renson, sorry if I butchered that name, back to 4th, and Josh Anderson finds himself in a lot of traffic sitting there in 5th position.
Yeah, and I think good call from you before about netcode, because I see Josh has got his wing back, so suggests to me that probably was a little bit of netcode in that first incident, which is, unfortunate. It happens, Josh in Australia, iRacing out of the Northern Hemisphere, quite a big difference between those guys.
Yeah, that's right. And as we go across the line again, Ewan's got the lead, but he doesn't have it his own way here as we've got a huge train forming up behind him here.
Yeah, we've got 7 cars that have got a bit of interest in what's going on here, and they've really done a big breakaway from the rest of the field. I think it was Ben Conroy after Darryl Ridley, and he's quite a long way behind. And then there's another big gap from Ben back to Nick, Peter Huggins, and Alex McKellar.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and see if there's a bit of contact there, but these top 7 drivers are definitely split this field. Just having a look further back in the field, it looks like, as we saw, Mick Gray's had his car fixed with fast repair, but it looks like Kevin Henderson may not have made the start tonight, unfortunately.
I didn't notice that. He wasn't tangled up in that incident with Mick.
I'll just have a look back. I don't think he actually took to the start of the race. So I think when we gridded up, I noticed I don't think he was there. So he would probably get a do not start for tonight.
Okay.
So
the guys are settling down a little bit. There's a little gap opening from 3rd to 4th, but that may not be there for long. So it's hard to know who's got the measure of who at the moment, because Juha's definitely not getting away.
Yeah, well, both Keith and Josh definitely have the pace out there, but they were both involved in that first lap incident. As we see Terry Renson there getting it a bit loose going into turn 1, and now he's under pressure from Simon Schultz.
Yeah, so Josh has picked up that one position because he was in fifth, so he's moved on past Thierry, and Simon Schultz has just pulled a move coming out of the turn 3 complex.
Yeah, it was a good move there. It looks like Thierry's car might be a little bit loose there, but I tell you what, Ewer's out front, but he's not pulling away, and it'll be interesting to see if Josh and Keith can get up to him, if they can actually take this fight to him.
Yeah, the other guys have had a little bit of a dice into the first of the chicanes there, which has opened the gap up. So we really don't have 7 cars in a battle pack anymore. We've got a distinct 4 and 3. And I think this could settle in. These guys will race smart now. They'll want to pull away from the other 3 and see what they can make of it over the next laps.
Yeah, that's right. They're down to about 4 in this battle pack. They'll probably try to drop it to 3 if they can, so then they can all fight for that podium position. So you can see Josh there sitting in 4th on the back of that battle pack, and I guess, Richard, if you were Josh, where would you be trying to make a move here?
Well, he needs to be very careful. Because of what I was saying before, if you make a move and you can't make it cleanly, you can lose a truckload of time. So he and Keith are reasonably well matched for speed. I think Keith's qualifying time I don't think is really indicative of his race pace. As Josh tries to make a move coming into turn 3, and Scott Fountain's run wide out of 3. So, so now Keith and Josh have gone past him, and Josh has also pulled the move and made himself up into 2nd. So just as I was talking, they shuffle positions radically.
Yeah, so at the moment we have Ewer Noralampi. He's loving this. He can just... Oh, and he's spun it. Was spoken too soon, and he's lost his nose. Keith Sharp's also gone around, I think.
I think that's
Scott Fountain, and Ewer's been hit again down there, so we've got disaster here for Ewer Noralampi.
Oh, yeah. So now we've got Keith out in front with Josh Anderson. Simon Schultz has got going again, but there's a fair old gap.
We'll have a look at this replay here. There was no contact, but we'll notice Ewer does lose his nose. As we can see, he's just hit that ripple strip really hard and spun it. And as the field comes around, there was no contact, but he does lose his nose. So I think he's really falling victim to netcode tonight.
Yeah, it's a really tricky little chicane. You need to square it off and just thread the needle between, you can just touch a bit of curb on the inside and then outside, but there are those little sleeping policemen or sausage curbs, and you catch too much, unsettle the front of the car or the back, and it's all over. And Juha has retired from the race. He's not a happy chappy.
Yeah, when he actually came back on track, he was collected by another car as he re-entered. So I think he was possibly suffering from netcode, and I bet he's not happy whatsoever. But at the moment, we have Keith Sharp in the lead. Josh Anderson is taking the fight to him at the moment. It must be said it's between these two, because the gap back to 3rd is 4.5 seconds at the moment, and that's Simon Schultz.
Yeah, and so we know Josh isn't going to want to sit in here behind Keith, as he just has a little look into the 2nd chicane, content to stick behind. Is smart at the moment.
Yeah, and we know Josh is a real racer, isn't he? And he's not going to give up. He's going to take this fight right to the end, and we've got 9 laps to go, so it's going to be interesting to see if Keith can hang on to this.
Well, Josh may not be aware that Keith's been driving the Skippy for a long time, so he is a wily old competitor. So what he lacks in speed, he will most certainly have in racecraft and just plain rat cunning. So it'll be interesting to see how this turns out.
Yeah, that's right, because we know Josh he's extremely quick, and he's known to throw that car on the inside when he can, as he's having a look now coming into turn 1.
Yeah, tricky move down the inside of turn one, but at least there's plenty of track to play with there. As he's going to dive in on the inside of turn two, whether he can maintain the momentum and power out. He's pushed Keith a little bit wide, but Keith may have the run here.
Yeah, Keith was definitely taking that wide, but as they come through the third corner here, Josh has taken that lead. Now we'll see what Keith can do. No doubt he'll be tucking into that slipstream and returning the favour.
Yeah, Keith's got a really good run out of turn four, so he's not going to give up. He'd probably be quite happy just to stay behind Josh for a few laps and see how Josh looks. It's only lap 7 at the moment, so there's a fair way to go.
Yeah, if he sits right on his tail there and Josh realises he can't shake him and Keith feels his mirrors, he might be able to psych Josh out. But saying that, I think Josh is used to those sort of high-pressure tactics.
Yeah, I think we'll have to see. I think, as I say, I know Keith's been driving for a long time and then he's a pretty cunning competitor with his racecraft. So it'll be really good to see if he can pressure the mistake out of Josh.
Yeah, so while Josh leads Keith here, we'll go further back, just as they come onto the main straight here. Sitting in third at the moment is Scott Fountain, and then we have Ben Conroy in fourth position. He's only, what's that gap? 1.2 seconds is the gap between Ben and Scott. Nick Burbridge, Nick started back in 16th position, I think it was. He's up to 5th position at the moment, so he's in a fantastic race.
Yeah, and these boys have got Simon Schultz breathing down. So Simon Schultz and Scott Fountain are in their recovery drive mode. So Scott, as you say, has already got past Ben, and Simon will be looking to make fairly short work with these other two guys. And he's done one, and he's just coming up now behind Nick. So we'll see how that goes. But I'd only give that a couple of laps, I think.
Yeah, that's right, because Simon was involved in that contact with Ewer earlier, wasn't it? That net code which spun him around, so he's on the march to try to recover points. The other person to keep an eye on is Darryl Ridley. He's all the way down in 8th position at the moment, and Alex McKellar currently second in the point score. He's in 9th, and now that Ewer's retired, he's going to be trying to bank as many points as he can tonight.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. So things might fall the way of those guys who've been driving in the second split. They're actually going to score a few points tonight anyway, which is really good for their campaign, I have to say. And as I say that, Josh is not managing to shake off Keith. He's right there with him.
Yeah, and Josh got it a bit taily there as they came back onto that final straight. 7 laps to go here. I don't think Josh is going to shake Keith at all. Keith's definitely got his measure here tonight.
Yeah, and there's a bit of speed there. Keith just did a 43.5. And Josh a 43.7, so they're not messing around. They've got the hammer down. That's a good indication. They're equal measure in terms of speed on the track, so it's going to come down to racecraft and opportunity.
Yeah, it certainly is, and Keith just set the fastest lap, as you said, a 1:43.570. So he's definitely showing he's got the pace there tonight.
Yeah, and that's fair, hoofing it around this track. It is indicative of the fact that we've got quite cool weather, so there's really good grip. So it's a good 2 seconds faster than people would be going on the classic sort of iRacing default weather.
It's amazing to watch as they're going through these chicanes. Josh and Keith are absolutely throwing these cars at this track tonight and using every single inch of this track to get the fastest lap possible around here.
Yeah, both of them are well and truly in the zone, aren't they? And it's really good to watch. Keith is definitely just shadowing. I really don't think he wants to show his hand to Josh just yet.
Yeah, no, it's I think around here, if you can't shake the guys, you're probably better to be sitting in second until there's a couple of laps to go.
That's right. And then the banzai brave move into the chicanes. You can when you don't care anymore about losing time. I think that's probably the answer.
Yeah, well, the gap these guys have built over third Scott Fountain at the moment, 12.51 seconds is the gap back to third. 2 seconds back to Ben Conroy there, sitting in fourth, and then we have Simon Schultz fifth. Nick Burbridge is sitting in sixth. So Simon has made that move on Nick in that last lap.
Yeah, our front two are lapping a good second a lap faster than Scott at the moment.
Yeah, he's got to catch Scott, he's got 5 seconds, so he's going to have to pull in about a second per lap. Looking at Simon Schultz's time, last time by was a 1:44.693. So I'm just trying to get that to Ben, was a 1:45.401. So I think it's going to be close. I think Simon's going to come pretty close to catching Ben by the end of this race.
Yeah, I'd give him a shot at doing that.
So he can actually see Ben just up ahead of him now. We'll get a live comparison here. 1.6 seconds, so he's definitely going to catch Ben. And then the question is, if he can get past Ben, what about Scott Fountain? Scott's another, 3 seconds up the road?
Yeah, that might be asking a bit much. He'll definitely get Ben, but Ben's got no front wing, so he'll be suffering a lot with his front end turning.
So we see now Keith going on the outside of Josh Anderson into turn one, taking a different line. Again, Keith's got the fastest lap, and that's courtesy of the tow he's getting from Josh at the moment. But you can just see as he's making Josh guess, taking different lines each corner. And he's not going to show his hand with 4 laps to go of this race.
Yeah, and Keith's been getting a really good run out of turn 4 down onto the straight. So he's probably lining that up for the last lap. He could perhaps make a move down into this first chicane here. He closes right up as he comes down to it.
So we see again riding with Keith. He throws it through that chicane. He's lost a little bit of distance on Josh, but we'll see how he goes now under brakes. He should close this back up again.
Why don't we jump on board Keith's car for a moment and just have a look at how he's driving and what this race really looks like from inside the cockpit.
Yeah, definitely. We're on board now with Keith Sharp, folks, for a lap around Zolder. So crank up your volume and enjoy the ride. I'm not sure if you can call the gears, Richard. It's up to you, mate.
Yeah, I'll have a go. I use slightly different gears to some guys. So we're just coming down to the Jackie X corner. Takes us onto the front straight as Keith ranges up on the outside. Down to second, pull first, back into second. Third, and it'll top out in fourth before the braking zone down the end of the straight here. Just a very light dab on the brakes and get the car turned in. Early on the power. He's a little bit late on the power there. This is a great set of corners to come around. Put flat to the floor. He's just dropping back to third to come around on turn 4 onto this back straight. I do that in fourth with a lift, but most guys are using third. And it'll come down into second gear for the chicane here, which is just to straighten it up as he took a bit too much curve there. You don't want to be doing too much of that or you'll bend your wings. As Josh gets that back out between the chicanes there, the first part and the second part. They're quite a tricky balancing act to get the car rotated right and then left there. As Keith's right up the back, and this will be interesting. Can Keith pull the over and under? I don't think he's going to be able to. Josh's exit speed was probably compromised a bit, but I don't think Keith's going to be able to capitalise on it.
Yeah, but one thing he's definitely doing is forcing Josh off that the best line there, which is definitely making Josh vulnerable down this back straight.
Yeah, it is, and you know, it means Josh has got to keep thinking. You know, he can't get away because he's slowed down as well, which gives Keith a whole lot of other opportunities.
So with 2 laps to go, Keith is now starting to think about how he's going to make this move. At the moment, we've got Scott Fountain in third, fourth. Simon Schultz is 5 seconds down with 2 laps to go, so I think he's going to have to settle for that 4th position. The action is definitely up the front here, folks, as we can see again. Keith Sharp on the back of Josh Anderson here, going wide. They both throw it through there. Keith's getting a very good run out of there.
Yeah, Keith had Josh looking in his mirrors, I think, going in there, and he's compromised him through and comfortably around into the second chicane.
And Josh is banging on the back of the Skip Barber. You don't want to see that, but he tagged him a few times there, so obviously Josh is feeling a little frustrated that he can't shake Keith at this stage.
Yeah, and Keith's not very happy about it either. He's had a few words to him.
I think there was a bit of contact through that chicane further on where they tangled wheels, and I think Josh is just letting him know that he's not happy, and no doubt Keith won't be happy either, as you said, Richard.
Yeah, so now it's the make or break lap.
That's right, and we're having a look from Josh's gyro cam here, as he's going to have to go around the outside, because I think Keith's going to make that Skippy very wide. Oh, last lap.
And Josh has overcooked it right into the kitty litter.
He's come right out behind Keith there, but Keith did the right thing. Hold him wide there, and Josh just ran out of road, didn't he?
Yeah, he went in a bit too hot. So, this really ought to be Keith's race at this point, I think. But we'll see if Josh does the banzai, but he's really too far behind to be trying anything into this first chicane at the very least.
I'll see if how hard. Look under brakes. He's absolutely throwing it into this chicane. Keith gets it sideways. Josh is going to get a run on him here.
Oh, this is dodgy. Josh throws it in deep into the second chicane and has pulled it off. I've got to say, Keith gave him lots of racing room for that, though.
Yeah, Keith was definitely making sure they didn't tangle there, and now it's a matter of, can Keith make this move? He's only got a few corners left, deep under brakes there. Josh is covering him off. It's still anyone's race here.
Yeah, Keith's got a better run here, I think. But it's really hard to make it into this last one. Josh is very defensive. So where does Keith go? I don't think you can do it around the outside here.
No, but he's making Josh really push it. But Josh got a great run out of there. And it looks like Keith is going to have to settle for second. But, oh, tell you what, side by side, as they come down to the line, it's Josh Anderson.
Half a car length in it. Cool. Well, I think Josh can count himself lucky that he was racing a gentleman. I think a lot of other people would have seen him off, but anyway, good, exciting racing, Benny.
Certainly was, and we've got Scott Fountain home for third. Simon Schultz comes home in fourth position. Ben Conroy, followed by Darryl Ridley. Nick Burbridge, great job there, home in sixth position. So Nick definitely had a great run. He started out of 15th tonight. Alex McKellar, he's second in the championship. He started in 15th and 16th, sorry. He came home in 9th, so that's a good haul of points. But I'll tell you what, that gap was 3 thousandths of a second between Keith Sharp and Josh Anderson.
Yeah, that was close. 300ths, I think you'll find, Bernie, but very close. A little less than half a car length on the line. And very exciting last couple of laps. Josh Anderson saying he's made more mistakes in 14 laps than Nico Rosberg all season. Well, I don't think he quite managed that, but close.
Yeah, so let's have a look at this, the field now and where your favourite driver finished. Josh Anderson just holds Keith Sharp out for the win. The gap was 0.039 of a second. So what's that? Is that 300ths of a second or 3,000ths of a second?
Yeah, it's nearly 400ths of a second, yeah.
Yeah, I'm no good at that sort of stuff. Scott Fountain home in third. Fourth was Simon Schultz. Fifth, Ben Conroy. Sixth, Darryl Ridley. And then we have Peter Huggins home in seventh position. Eighth was Nick Burbridge. Ninth, McKellar. And Luke Page comes home in 10th. 11th position. Sorry. You go.
Yeah, we've got Ivan Fernandez, followed by Luton in 12th, McRae in 13th, and then Juha Norolampi 10 laps down, Thierry Renson 10 laps down. That was after the unfortunate incident that they had earlier on, and Kevin Henderson, as you say, who has failed to turn a lap tonight.
Yeah, so we've got Juha Norolampi in the green room, and I'm a bit of a chicken, Richard, so I might bring him up and you can interview him.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Good evening, Juha. I'm glad that you've turned up to say hi. Most unfortunate ending for you tonight. You started off really well. Just talk us through your first few laps and your impressions.
Well, good evening, guys. I was nearly not coming here because the race was terrible, but I have had a little hard time for this week because my wife's nephew, 1 year old, is at a critical condition in the hospital because his kidneys failure because of the bacteria which he caught somewhere. And we have been praying all the week, and he's struggling with his life, and I have very hard to concentrate on racing now. And as you mentioned at the broadcast, I heard that last week I had also very bad struggle with my setup because my pedals have been not working properly. At least for a week, and that doesn't motivate anymore to race nowadays. But the race was pretty good at first lap because Joshua was very quick and he was pushing very hard. I was just surprised by the last corner or last chicane, because I don't know, was that a net code or was it late braking for Joshua, but I think it's net code because I have had that problems in these Monday light races too much, and that's affecting my races too much, and I don't know if I can continue.
Yeah, it's pretty hard in the heavy braking zones, isn't it, where you're just coming right down into first gear. That's when you tend to notice the net code. It's a bit unfortunate. You were driving pretty well, but that first chicane, that's a beast, isn't it? If you don't line up cleanly through it, it's a bit of a lottery as to where your car's going to go, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what lap was that where I spun for that the first chicane. The main reason I think is perhaps my pedals don't work very well because there is some problem with my potentiometers. I don't have load cell brakes, and that's not a good to race at the top guys with the top guys. And another thing is that I haven't practiced this week, not much, and this cold weather, which was today, it got me surprised that there was so much grip when coming to that chicane.
Yeah, the track is quite different when you're lapping down in the 43s with that, isn't it? You really have to drive it quite differently.
Yeah, sure.
Well, commiserations anyway, Yuha. Hopefully you do stay with us, get your pedals fixed. It's good to have you racing with us, and it was just unfortunate tonight. And I think, I think it was Joshua who tagged you. I think he's had a little bit of that tonight, so we'll see. Hopefully he comes up to interview as well, but I know that Keith's not very happy with Joshua's driving tonight, so maybe he was just pushing it a little bit too hard and not quite giving the latitude that you need to give.
Well, yes, that's racing. I know that Joshua is a very good driver and very fast, and he's very much keen to win, of course, much more than I. But and they have a good battle there with Keith Sharp. I think that there was a nice entertainment to all the guys who watched it. And thanks for you all guys that you have making this broadcast again. But I would hope that everyone who prays could to remember my wife's nephew, that he's at hospital and a very critical condition. So thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, all the best to him, Yuha.
Thanks.
And we've got Scott Fountain down here. Benny, let's bring Scott up for a chat.
Yeah, so Scott finished in third position tonight. Started out of fourth by the looks of it. Hi Scott, welcome to RRTV's commentary booth. It looks like you had quite a good race there overall tonight, coming home in third position. Can you tell us how it went from your point of view?
Yeah, good evening Reggie and Bernie. It was a pretty eventful race really. I thought I had a good chance at winning that, and don't know what happened to you, but I guess he launched off the curb and spun it around. I had nowhere to go, and I hit him, but luckily I didn't have too much damage. I just spun out and dropped back to fifth, and then managed to regain my way up to finish on the podium, which pretty happy with, mate. I did the race this morning for the 2K World Cup, and I absolutely got it handed to me. So I've spent a bit of time today doing a few laps, and managed to find a bit of pace. So pretty happy with third overall, mate.
Yeah, that's good, Scott. It was pretty tight there. You had a great little bunch going. There were 7 of you at one stage until you lost it, and I think Bernie caught it on replay. No one had anywhere to go basically. So Yuha got tagged a few times, and there's his car just sitting there.
Yeah, well, it was a few corners before I just made a mistake and I just ran wide. I was in Yua's draft, and I just swept right out into the grass, which dropped me back a few positions, and I knew it was going to be hard to get past those two guys again. I was just following them through. The next thing I know, there's a front of a car facing towards me, and I had nowhere to go. So these things happen. The car wasn't too badly damaged. I lost a little bit of speed. I couldn't catch the guys in front. But no, it was a good race. It was a really good race. What's happened to Mike tonight?
Well, Mike said he was going to be here tonight. I don't quite know. I know that his house is really just about finished, so we won't have him for a while.
Oh, that's all right.
So I think he might be involved in moving in duties
I
tonight.
guess so. No worries. It's a good series. I enjoy racing it. I wish I could do a little bit more.
Yeah, now tell us about the track. Do you enjoy driving here? Because I found, particularly when the circuit's got grip like it's got tonight, it's really quite well suited to this car. You can chuck it around and you've got a bit of room to play.
Yeah, this track's an interesting one, really. Certainly, I've changed the setup a lot compared to what I normally would running it at most other tracks. I sort of found that you have a lot of front end push, in 90% of the corners, which trying to get your head around that is a little bit frustrating. But yeah, I lowered the tyre pressures a lot more than I normally would, and it seemed to work this week. So
yeah, good stuff. Anything from you, Bernie?
No, nothing from me. Just congratulations, Scott. I noticed you're going up and down through the field, but I think half the field was doing that tonight. It was quite an eventful race, but fantastic drive there to come home third on the podium. Before we let you go, Scott, do you want to give a shout out to anyone tonight?
Oh, just the ANZ Motorsport boys. I'm sort of the Lone Ranger running the Skip Barber and that, but they've done me up a nice skin to put on the car, and yeah, that's all really. I'd just like to say, hey, you guys run a great event, and thanks RRTV for hosting this broadcast.
Yeah, no worries. And it looks like you've got SimWorks on the side of your car. Is that one of your sponsors?
Yeah, that's one of the team sponsors. I personally haven't dealt with them, but they are looking after Jared Fullsell pretty good. So yeah, I just support the boys, and yeah, no, it's good.
Fantastic. Well, you can go back to the ANZ boys tonight. Tell them you've got a podium there in third. So fantastic drive once again, and hopefully we'll see you back here in coming rounds.
Oh yeah, mate, I'll be back next week. I've got the bit between my teeth now, so got to do it.
And Alton Park next week. Alton Park and the Skiffy is just fantastic, Scott. I don't know if you've done it before, but it is really a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've done a few laps, not too many. I wasn't too familiar with Zolder, to be honest, and after spending half a day getting my head around it, I sort of managed to do alright. So you know, I look forward to next week, and especially the Bathurst round. I love Bathurst and the Skip Barber.
And just before he goes, Bernie, since we've got another Kiwi, we've got to say, go the mighty All Blacks, Scott.
Yeah, we must say that, mate. Sorry to you Australians, it must be hard.
Yeah, well, it was great having you up here, Scott, and we'll see you later, mate.
Yeah, cheers.
Thanks, mate.
I tell you what, we're lucky we don't have Mr. Matheson up here, else it'd be absolutely unbearable listening to all you Kiwis tonight. But now,
well, he would have been into the bourbon. He's not a big rugby supporter. It's very, very disappointing, but nevertheless. Got to turn our attention to driver of the night, Bernie, and I'm going to give it to Keith Sharp. I think that Keith drove a really good race. Not much in it. He was right there. He drove really respectfully. I think a lot of other drivers, Joshua would have found himself into a barrier, would have had a Valentino Rossi moment. So I think we've got to give driver of the night to Keith Sharp.
Yeah, well, Keith, as you said, drove a fantastic race. He really took it to Josh, didn't he, tonight? And as you said, he really showed restraint there. And yeah, so driver of the night too, Keith. But I tell you what, I'd like to really give a big mention out to Nick Burbridge tonight. Nick started back there in 15th position tonight, and managed to bring that car home in one piece in 6th. So that was a really good drive from Nick tonight.
Well, I'm showing him an 8, which doesn't take anything away from the drive. He had some pretty sharp company and he's done well. But I'm showing him an 8th position.
Yes, you're right. The official results is 8th, but I had him in 6th on my drivers. So, yeah, Keith Sharp takes drive of the night tonight. It was a great race there between him and Josh.
Yeah, it really was. Very entertaining stuff. And so next week, I'm off to Alton Park. As I said, it's a circuit with a lot of history, and it is a really great circuit in this car, winding around just a brilliant piece of road. So look forward to resuming broadcast in the Monday Lights next week. And what have you got on, Bernie?
Yeah, well, I was just going to also say to our viewers out there, if they didn't catch the VIR round, definitely have a look at our replay there, because we're actually using quite a unique layout. I've never seen it used before, where instead of going right up that back straight, they're actually going through and using the short course and then coming back onto the up near the chicane there up the top of the hill. So it was a very, very long track, but a great race. As far as what I've got on, folks, we've got the Pro-Am Sports Car Series coming up. I'm not sure if that's this week or next week. And apart from that, I'm just enjoying a nice break. But we'll definitely be back to see you folks next week when we bring you the Monday night lights again, and that's Alton Park. Is that right, Richard?
Yeah, that's right, Alton Park. It should be really good fun.
Fantastic. Well, it's always great to have you back here, and it's good to see you survived your big holiday, and I think it went quite well tonight. So thanks, Richard, for jumping up into the commentary booth with us again tonight.
Yeah, no worries, Bernie. Always fun, mate. Really enjoy it.
Yeah, and of course, thanks to all our viewers out there. If you liked this video, definitely hit the like button and tell all your friends. We're still trying to get our viewership up on this small channel. But on behalf of Richard Craig, I'm Bernie Weemers, and thank you for tuning in to RRTV.